Something's happening.
I know, hopefully. You see a screen up there yet? This low light photo group?
Yes, we do.
Oh, good. All right. Just a couple of things. Now I can get going here. Now there's a couple of things that are coming up that you guys might be interested in real quick. We're going to do a creative lighting with David Lee. That's going to be happening on in June on the 22nd, I believe. Just double checking my date on there. Yeah, the 22nd, which is on a Tuesday. So if you guys are interested in doing that, by all means, you're more than welcome to sign up. It should be on the meetup page, also on the on Eventbrite and all that other fun stuff as well too. For those who want to join for something that's for free, the lighting with David Lee is going to be $85 for that. That just covers for the instructor and also a little bit of the admin cost on that particular one. I'm going to be doing a photo walk. This is going to be a free thing. So it's just basically a bunch of us hopefully get together, and it's going to be on the 13th of June, I believe. I've got my date right here. Yeah, the 13th of June, and we're going to start meeting around 7:30 across from the Lost Kangaroo Pub. So if anybody's interested in joining me there, you're more than welcome to. We're going to walk around downtown. If it's just a couple of us, well, we'll make it a pub crawl. If there's a group of us, well, maybe not a pub crawl as much. So we'll see how that goes. I'm also going to be going out to Coquina Beach on the night before, on the 12th. The Milky Way is getting up a little bit earlier late in the evening, around 11:30 or so. So I'm going to head out there and try to get some pictures for that one as well. I'm also doing a class on Milky Way editing and stuff at Johnson Photo Imaging. So if anybody's interested in doing that, that'll be a couple days before this, the Milky Way Coquina Beach thing. But if anybody wants to join me out there, you're more than welcome to. You don't have to take the class. Of course, I'll be here if you want to answer questions and stuff. These are some of the pictures I've shot when I've been out there trying to capture the Milky Way while I'm there. Let's see what else that's coming up. Let's see. I only saw Greg is the only one, and he's not in the group tonight. It looks like he's the only one that posted anything for the group, at least on there. So if anybody else wants to share anything, you're more than welcome to do that. Now, what I was going to do today is talk about some editing stuff, if you guys are interested in that. If anybody has anything that, again, they like to share with their editing, you're more than welcome to as well. But I'm going to go ahead and start that off the bat and go with it from there. All right, so I went out to Mayaca Preserve a couple of weeks ago, and so this is the final, not the final version of this thing, but I thought I'd kind of walk you through some of the stuff that I went through when I did some of this stuff. And I shot this with a 24 millimeter or the 12 millimeter lens from Olympus. The idea is, obviously what I'd had to do with this particular image to get to here, and I did a little bit of cropping on it. So, and I'll show you what it was before it was cropped. But this was shot with a 4/3 aspect ratio. And what I ended up having to do is I had to stitch some pictures together in order to get a little bit more of the Milky Way in there. So when I'm doing all this stuff, you can see with all the pieces that it created doing the Photoshop under Photo Merge, and I'll show you about that in just a minute, is that then I can once it's all put together, then I can do a little tweaking, a little bit of cleaning up, and then of course finalize a few things on there and go from there. And that's kind of like what the final version, what I finally considered I liked the best out of all the pieces. But for tonight, what I did was I went and started over from the beginning again, so you guys can kind of see what I'm doing on here. So basically what I'm doing is I have to basically get the files already ready to batch together through Photoshop. Now you could do this through Lightroom or anything else, But what you're looking for on that is you're looking for the words where on a Photoshop under Automate, under Photo Merge. And once you do the photo merge, then you have to find the files. In this case, I had all the files that I wanted to photo merge right there, selected them. Make sure that they're selected under the source files there as well. You can choose auto or you choose perspective, cylindrical, whatever. I usually leave it, let it go auto. You can leave content aware on there to fill in the little blanks, or you can say not to do that. Once you do that, then it's going to basically put it all together, generate a panoramic. And this is basically what it looks like before it does the content aware. So I really didn't quite do what they call, there's a little bit of distortion here and there, but Photoshop will actually fill in the blanks for me, which makes a little bit my job a little bit easier as far as dealing with that. So you can see the areas that it filled in. The main one of oops. So the main area that I'm looking at right now is you're dealing with is this is the actual image itself. This is all the part that the whole entire system created. So you can see there's some duplication of some of the stars. So if you're trying to be really particular and making this photo accurate, then, guys, you can't see my air quotes, I don't think, but I did air quotes. So the idea is if you're trying to make this photo accurate, you will leave the content aware filter off. And then what you would do is you would just crop the parts that doesn't work out, or you would try to stretch them or do something else with them later on. But this is probably the easiest way to do it. And that way it kind of fills in the gaps and helps correct for some of the errors that you might find in this stuff. So once it goes through all that stuff, I then basically create a brand new layer that's got everything in there. Now this is basically this is taking all these layers that I've created a new one. And what I've done was I go into Photoshop and I just said, create a new layer. Usually I use the shortcut keys, Command, Control, Shift E. If you have a Windows, it would be Alt, Control, Shift E. And it would take all your layers and merge them into one layer. Because that way I could do all my edits on there and stuff like that. And that's not too bad right there, the way it looks. But of course I'm in the Mayaca preserve and there's a lot of light pollution in there. And I've still got to deal with that stuff right in that area right there. So that's some of the things I'm kind of working in. So then I can go into a the raw filter. So basically what I did was I clicked on the filter up there and I basically added the raw filter. And then what I did was I then went in there and tried to clean up some of the area. I didn't really care too much of the ground because I didn't use any lighting there when I was working on that. I'll tell you though, when I was out there, when I was I was driving out there at around 2 o'clock in the morning. I almost ran into a cow in the middle of the road. This big black cow was in the middle of Fruitville Road when I was out to there, and I almost smacked right into him. It was just crazy. And then when I got there, there was a pickup truck there. And I thought, oh, good, somebody from the meetup group was there. And it turns out, no, that was just some guy that was napping in the pickup truck. So, or trying to get some sleep. They weren't too happy with me. So anyway, so like I said, I'm working with the camera raw. And what I can do is you can work in certain areas and try to clean up certain aspects. That's kind of what I'm kind of playing with right here. Trying to fix up some of the shadow details. I didn't light it up, so lightening up shadows is usually not the best way to do it. You get a lot of noise, a lot of grain, especially if you did some heavy manipulation on it. And what I'm doing is, of course, I'm going to save this as something else. With the latest version of Photoshop, what you got to do with Photoshop when you go to save or save as, you can save it as your Photoshop document, but if you want to save it as a JPEG now, this drop-down menu doesn't drop down to JPEG anymore. The new version, the latest update, you actually have to go save as, and then you can save it as your JPEG. It doesn't automatically give you that little savings now. But once it's all done, typically what I like to do is I'll throw this into Capture One. Capture One works out best for me when I'm doing most of my edits, when I'm dealing with color. I like it that way because it's a little bit easier for me. And what I usually do is I work in layers in Capture One, and basically will grab a layer, fill it up, make all my adjustments, And then I go up there and I clear out, once I get all the adjustments done, then I will then clear out the layer and paint back over that. Because even though right here it's looking kind of weird all the way across, all I'm concentrating on visually is what this is looking like right here. I'm just looking at the core right now. I could care less what's going on around this, because what I'm looking for is just trying to do overall adjustments for that. And then once I get everything that I way I like it, and then I can look at this and go back and forth, and then I can go in there and then I can say clear that layer out, and then I can take a brush, clear it out, and take a brush and just paint over the area that had those adjustments on there. And that way it only affects that one little area to make it a little more pronounced. Now, this is the new version that I was working with earlier. So it's got all the little bit of extra stuff on there and stuff like that. I went a little bit further with it because I was playing around with some of the more, because it got a little bit of purple fringing up there, a little bit of yellowish in there when it put the panoramic. So I mean the fill content aware. So I tried to get rid of some of that stuff as well too on there. So I ended up actually doing about 7 different layers throughout the whole entire process. Just and I, of course I played with a couple different crops on there just to see what it would look like. See how just again just trying to tweaks, doing a little bit of tweaks there, trying to paint some of that blue out of there, that purple I mean out of there, things like that. Now, if you were to be really picky about it and you start looking at it with the loop and stuff like that, you notice that there's going to be a little bit of icky noise and stuff. But this is just me playing around with it, just trying to see what I can come up with. I is there a way to fix most of that noise? Not really. I shot this at 1600 ISO, 10 seconds. This is about as good as it's going to get for me when I'm out there. You can probably run it through AI Topaz as a noise reduction, and that might help out a little bit. But I haven't seen it do a great job at trying to fix some of this stuff. Now, some of you might have run into that thing and you've gotten a better job at doing it. But so far, this is probably the best I think I've gotten out of there. Again, we're dealing with the humidity in the air, and you can see there's lots of the light pollution. We get a couple of halo spots in there, and I can literally go back in there and fix more of that stuff up. And this is me kind of trying to fix some of it up right there. You can see right. I don't know if you guys can see it on your particular screen, but on the so basically, I've tried to clean up some of the areas. So, but if you look real carefully on this particular one, I still we're going to have to clean up the little area where they filled the content. It's starting to show up a little bit because where I pushed some of the contrast around there. So it's giving me a little bit of a defining line, but I could literally go in there and fix that up, but I was running out of time today with all the other computer things and stuff like that. Now, some of the other stuff that I've done before in the past is I've done with this is what doing the Jupiter Saturn conjunction, dealing with people talking back and forth between JPEG and RAW. One of the things I'm always asked is, can I shoot these in JPEG? And the issue is, I would say no, I would not shoot these in JPEG, because what you're seeing right here is the JPEG files right here. These are the JPEG files, and this is after exporting and rendering it out through JPEG. And the data that's in there is not really that much, but until you actually run it through RAW, you can actually recover the amount of detail that you're trying to pull into it. Now, I did 2 exposures, one for the sky, then I did an exposure for the beach there in front of me. And that way I give me a little bit more of a play for what's going on out there, because I really wanted to keep the rocks as sharp as I possibly can. And then again, I went into Photoshop for this because I can't really do this in Capture One or anybody else. Lightroom is probably the best way where I can actually create 2 different layers from the foreground, the background. And this particular one makes it easy because, well, now I can actually cut the horizon line in the middle. And that really works out really well for me. Yeah, it's kind of breaking the compositional rule of thirds, but it works out for me. And I've been pretty happy with that particular result. Now, any questions about any of this stuff so far? No? Okay.
This one, you use PSD, you do not use your Olympus RAW.
I'm sorry?
You use PSD, not Olympus RAW.
Well,
Looked like you were importing the PSD Photoshop file. So did
oh,
you
yeah, oh,
forward them?
for the stitching. Yeah, you could have used the raw files or the Photoshop document. I just had them in something else and I just exported them as Photoshop documents. That's all.
Okay, thanks.
Yep. Now, some of us went to the up there at City Island, Sarasota, and Dave and Kathy, I'm Kat did a little presentation there with dealing with steel wool, and I had some operator error issues there, but so I'm pretty happy with that's the final result. I'm pretty happy with that. Now, for those of you who weren't familiar with this, is that Dave basically he goes out and he does these little presentations with dealing with steel wool and fireworks. And what we do is we try to do a capture of all this action going on. Then we run it through post production to clean it up. Now, on this particular sequence of pictures, we don't, since we're in a group and we only have one source of flash, to freeze her, as says it. Well, we all have to kind of work with one flash as Dave is walking behind her with the fireworks. Now, what he's got is a contraption, he shoves the fireworks into the contraption and turns it on and starts spinning. So all these fireworks were coming out of the contraption, spinning behind Cat here. So the idea is when I got all these pictures, I'm like going, well, the flash, I missed it a couple of times. So this was the best thing I can get. However, what I did like was the numbers 2 and 3. I like number 2, but it looks too kind of fakey for me. I like number 3 here because it's got a nice little silhouette, but of course, I'm losing some definition and some details in the shadows. Yeah, I could try to lighten it up, but what I'm going to do now is try to fix this in composite. Now, I like the background of the one on the right. The one on the right looks, I think, a much more pleasing as far as the detail that I get, especially with the green things coming out of her head like that. I thought that worked out pretty well. So again, what I have to do is I'm opening this up in Photoshop, and I'm doing some of my basic edits in there, trying to give me some nice little colors and definitions and stuff like that, trying to tweak the colors a little bit. And then what I'm doing, then this particular one is I isolated only the shadow that she's at. The first one, you can see the shadow is fairly sharp. So what I did was I masked her, the shadow of her. And then when I did that, as I threw that in a filter called motion blur, and then I was able to give her a slight little blur to the shadow. So that way now she's got some motion blur and it looks like the shadow was running. But the other thing too is I thought it just looks like she's just kind of standing there. So I decided, well, what would it look like if it looks like she's running across something hot, because now the ground looks kind of hot now. So I decided to add a little bit of a flare to the ground. So it looked like she just shoved her feet just hit the ground and all these sparks or tinders are coming up from the ground. So I did that. And then I took the other picture, which had a little more detail in it. And then I basically cut that part out. And since she's in the same position, all I have to do is then delete it down a little bit. I mean, soften it up, make a little bit of, clear it and bring down the opacity. And then once I do that, then you can see a little bit more detail on her face, bring that detail in. So that way it's more of an implied expression instead of just a shadow in there. And since the shadow's already got motion blur, all that stuff is just working with it. My only issue is that I thought that the background of her didn't have enough to really sell for me, the scent that trying to convince everyone that she's running. So I decided to stick a little bit of light streaks behind her to give it more of a bit of that. And then what I did was of course, ended up cropping the picture a little bit more to get a little bit more. So it looks like she's running into the thing. I didn't care for all that little black area, and I could have filled it out, but she was too centered on the picture. So I wanted to give it a little bit more of a, like she's running into the frame type of thing. So it worked out pretty well for me when I was working with this particular one. Now, again, all this was shot with the Olympus RAW. And what I did was I just dumped that into Capture One, and then I opened it up in Photoshop, and then just did all this stuff right here as far as that Now, another thing too that happened to me out in my active preserve is that one of the things I forgot to do was that I was shooting these pictures out there and I forgot to change my settings at this particular time. And I was like, well, crap, because I really liked this picture and I thought it'd be really kind of cool, but I didn't check the back of the camera. I was kind of in a hurry. So I had this really what I call super underexposed picture. So what I ended up doing was that I took the picture. Now, this is the other thing too that I ran into is that this was actually shot in JPEG by mistake. So I had no raw capture with this particular one. So, I'm trying to make the best out of the thing because I can't, I'm going to lose some of the detail. However, I was still pleasantly surprised when I ran it through Capture One and I did the auto corrections. I said, well, that's not too bad. It's pulling out some of the detail. I'm not going to be crystal clear sharp, but it's going to be decent enough for me to work with it. And then, of course, I'm tweaking the color temperature. I bring the sun rays in there a little bit, and then I just do some final crop in it to make it more centralized. And I thought, for a JPEG file, it didn't turn out too bad, and it worked out pretty cool. And it came out really nice as far as that goes. Any questions for any of that stuff, guys? Well, does anybody else have any? Does anybody have anything else to share or to bring out to the group tonight?
My only question is, you are talking about using Capture One more and more. I'm looking at using Luminar instead of Lightroom slowly on. Did anybody ever compare those two?
Yeah, I have Aurora HDR and I have Luminar 4 is what I have. I haven't updated to the Luminar AI. I've been liking Luminar 4 because it gives me a little bit more of some of the templates when I'm working with some of the edits. Like I like the little sunburst that you can add to it and things like that. That works out really well. You also got a little bit of fine tuning. You can also work in a layer stuff. So Luminar 4 works for me. And so does Aurora. Aurora HDR is also something I use quite a bit when I'm doing some basic edits for trying to bring the Milky Way out just a little bit more. Because what you can do is it basically gives me a little bit extra pop when it comes to that. However, I tend to be a little bit heavy-handed on it, so sometimes it comes out a little bit more noisier than I would like. So for instance, on that first picture that you guys saw at the beginning. So like on this particular picture, this was a house that was out in Duet. It's no longer there now, but I got lucky with the piece because the semi trucks that were driving by, they really just, so when the trucks are driving by, I'm standing on the side of the road, there's semi trucks driving by, so they're lighting up the house. And the Milky Way was just rising up over the house there, and I thought that was pretty cool, and it worked out pretty well for that. But you can see I got lots of light pollution there. And if you look really closely towards the bottom of there, you can see there's a lot more noise generated with it. Now this was run through a little bit of Lightroom and mostly through Aurora HDR to give a little bit more of a pop. I did bring the sky back in. I went back to the original file and I laid it back down in Photoshop on top of this because I thought it really went too far, but I like how it was working on the bottom. And then I basically just masked out the bottom of the original one. And so you can see just the little bit of the sky there, kind of painted that back into it. So it's not as noisy as say as the ground is as far as that goes. So like I said, I use a variety of different tools just to get what I want to do to make it all kind of work out. All right. And there's Greg. Hey, Greg, how you doing? Now, Greg's got some pictures that he posted on here, which I thought was kind of cool. Are you there, Greg?
Probably on mute.
Let's see if I can get him unmuted. I don't think Greg can hear us. I don't think he's got any audio. Well, let me go back to this then. So Greg, I thought you came up with some really good stuff right there. So it was kind of nice. This looks like to me like it was out west. I didn't get the chance to see any of the other stuff yet. And let's see the Mojave Desert. That's really cool. And that was kind of nice with that particular one. And where was this one out? Utah. Oh my goodness. That looks gorgeous. I'm always jealous of people going out to Utah. Some really good stuff out there. Let's see what you got going on here. Oh my goodness, where the hell were you at this one? Now back in Utah, oh, of course, back in Utah. That's some really cool stuff. So you can see, again, this is a much better rendition of some of the shadow details and some of the stuff I've been doing. Yeah, you can see there's a little bit of, patterns and stuff in there, but that's fine. No one's ever going to notice that type of stuff. But that's just really cool, like that right there with the Milky Way. It looks like a little bit of a composite there, though, but that worked out pretty well. I think I've seen this before from you. That's pretty cool, Greg. I like that again a lot. Looks like you stuck a LED, if I remember correctly, on that story. That's a cool one. All right. Now, this is the shortest so far, smallest group and the shortest thing that I've done so far. Is there anything else that anybody would like to discuss or talk about? There's this back in September. I put a thing up on the Facebook page in September. I put a little thing out there on Facebook for people who might want to go to a couple of different places. And so far, everybody is looking at. So far, the winner so far seems to be back out to Steinhatchee. So we tried to go out there last time, but we got kind of caught in the rain. A few of you have asked to go to the Flamingo Center, which looks pretty cool. Kirby Storter Roadside Park. A couple of you want to go back out there. Sanibel Island, and of course, Dono only got a couple of votes. So in September, it looks like we're going to go. I'm going to try to schedule another event back out there at Steinhatchee. If you haven't been out to Steinhatchee, it's a little bit north of Cedar Key, and it's basically in a Bortle 2 sky. And if you're not familiar with Bortle 2 is probably the darkest sky you're going to get in the state of Florida for the most part. And you don't get that, you only get that in only small areas, select areas and stuff like that. So it's a nice little spot to go visit. I've been out there a couple of times. I've only gotten 2 successful trips out there. But the last one we got kind of rained out on. So hopefully in September we won't have any hurricanes and we can maybe head out there. Oh, the other good news is that what's coming up is that I might be able to start holding meetings back in the store again. So that'll be nice. So that'll be kind of nice to get together and do those store meetings like we've done before. That's still not set in stone yet, so I'm hoping that'll come up soon, not later. I've also put up yeah, exactly. I'm also looking for there's a place out in Mayaka that's also kind of cool. It's called the Crawley Museum Nature Center. I put a tweet out to the president of that place to see if we get some access to the place after hours. For those who don't know, who've never been out there, the Deep Sky Observer groups usually have their star parties out there, and I'm hoping that maybe she'll let us either tag along with them, or hopefully we can set it up for a time out there. The time I'm trying to get for that is August 8th. That seems to be a pretty good night. It's new moon night, and with some of the buildings, it might be kind of fun to do some light painting along with some of the buildings out there. They got some really interesting structures. If you've not been out there, it's a great place to visit. It's got some livestock out there, so it's certainly going to be interesting wandering around there at night with that. So yeah, I know Dave's been out there. So if you haven't been a chance, it's basically if you take Fruitville all the way down, make a right on Mayaka Road, just swing around there, and you can get some really cool things. My mom volunteers out there, and so does my son. So they're out there, and so does my nephew too, as well. So
Yeah, the ground's littered with $100 bills.
yeah, exactly. You know, some guy keeps leaving $100 bills everywhere out there. So yeah, so that's coming up as well. Let's see what else. In October, what I've done before in the past, and it seems like everybody enjoys it. You usually get a pretty good turnout for that. In October, we'll go out to the cemetery again, unless somebody else has another spooky place to go visit, because it's usually towards the end of October. At the end of October, the Milky Way is much earlier in the evening, so basically almost just right after sunset. And we'll go out there. We can go take a look at some of that stuff as well too. And Greg, it looks like you got your ears on. Did you want to talk about some of those pictures? We kind of went through them briefly. Uh, Other
Do
than
you want me to
that,
share one of my photographs?
yeah, sure, you're more than welcome
Like
to.
you, I have my photographs are right now on my other PC, but I have one or two down here, so I can share your photograph.
Sure, let me give me a second. I'll let you make you a co-host. So what you can do is if you're a co-host, you should be able to now. Oops, there's Greg Adams. I meant to do. It was Andy. I meant to do.
Yeah.
There we go. So what you can do is you can share your screen if you want to do that. Where it says share screen, then you have to click on the screen
Yeah.
and you can share it.
Let me
that
see
way.
where it actually is.
Okay. You can take your time. Hey, Greg, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hey, did you want to talk about some of your pictures?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. You have them
They're
on your screen to bring up?
Yeah, I can bring them up. Let me do that while he's. So this was the first one I saw.
Yeah, this was taken in the Mojave Desert, about an hour outside of Las Vegas. And it's an abandoned corral there. It's got a bunkhouse, a very, very neat place to do photography there at night. I've been there. This is the second time I've been there with a friend that lives in Las Vegas. And this is a Joshua tree at sunset that I took. And I just like the looks of it in black and white, so I converted it.
I like the black and white. I like that little burst of the sun that you got in there too. That's nice.
Yeah, thanks.
And this was in Utah, if I saw the notes right.
It is. That is in Goblin Valley, Utah. It's a state park. I've been there. This is the third time, and I love it there. It's very, very unique geological formations and
Right.
and incredibly dark skies there. I mean, when
Oh yeah.
it's not that large of an area, but when the sun goes down, it gets just incredibly dark out there, and you can't find your way. So
Yeah.
it's a very cool place, and this is light painted from the right side, obviously, with the light held way high, probably about 8 feet in the air, and all
Cool.
this is red rocks, just like you see there.
I was saying earlier that I'm always jealous when I see pictures back from Utah because I haven't been to Utah yet.
Yeah, I love it out there.
Yeah, I saw this was also from Utah as well too. Now,
It
is
is.
this
I
one
can't.
you did a composite on this one?
That is correct. You know, there is actually another mountain line in the background there. I could not make a really nice transition there in that composite. It actually looks very much like that when you look at the single picture that forms that line back there.
Mm-hmm.
But my composite was not very elegant in that part there.
Yeah, I love the sky. That's nice. You got a nice capture of the core right there. Was this taken at 2 different times of the day?
No, they're back to back. And I'm going by memory on this, Donovan. The the sky is probably 2.8, 6400 for 25 seconds. And then the foreground is still 2.8 and dropping the ISO in half to 3200.
Okay.
And then adding 2 minutes to the exposure. So it'd been about 2 minutes and 25 seconds for the foreground.
Yeah, because I was commenting because it looks like you did some of the pictures I was showing earlier. They my noise and the shadow details is pretty horrible, you know. So that's pretty nicely managed, I thought. So I thought that came up pretty cool.
Yeah, thanks. Well, that's a time ratio that I learned from someone else of dropping the ISO in half and then adding 2 minutes to your exposure.
Okay.
And you can pull out a lot of detail in the foreground. I mean, it was dark. I mean, it was just you couldn't hardly see your hand in front of your face
Okay.
for that exposure there.
I'll have to remember that for next time. Next time I do try to do that, I'll have to do that. And I've seen this before. I think you were telling me.
You
about
know, I was questioning myself. I had two shots I was thinking about putting in there, and I put this one in, and I said, I'm wondering if I've shown this one before. But anyway, this is a light painting that I did with my grandson, and we taped EL wire on the club, and that was a glow in the dark ball and a glow in the dark tee on that.
Yeah,
So that was probably about 3-second exposure.
yeah, that's cool. Well, thanks, Greg. I appreciate that. Okay, Andy, if you want to, you should be able to. If you're ready, should be able to share as well too. Well, thanks, Greg. I appreciate you taking the time and showing that. I wasn't sure if you were going to make it.
Yeah. I'm sorry I was late. In fact,
No, it's
I
fine.
got really late.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's I was saying earlier too to everyone, it's like, you know, there's a couple of things I'm going to try to do. And I was mentioning too, I don't know if you heard, is that I'm going to try to do group meetings back in the store again. So, you know, it's not set in stone yet, so don't get too excited, but
Yes.
I'm hoping to do. With I've been vaccinated. Most of the people in the store have been vaccinated. So,
Yeah.
you know, and with some of the lifting up of the CDC guidelines, I think it's been a little bit easier for some folks. So I'm hoping that everyone will be okay with that. I mean, I don't mind doing these Zoom sessions, and this is fine. But if you were here when everyone saw earlier, I was having technical difficulties.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Well, I
Yeah.
just got a brand new computer because my old computer died basically Monday. And the last couple of days, I've been just basically trying to get all the tweaks out. I hadn't done any Zoom sessions yet. So the first thing it did was it crashed on me on the Zoom. Wouldn't let me do stuff until I clicked out, came back in and did stuff, you know, things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we lost Andy. Andy said he was going to share some stuff, but it looks like we lost him.
Yeah. This session was on light and shadows, and I had a picture that had incredible shadowing in it, but it was a very, very small file. As a picture I took of a musician. I did kind of a series of photos for him.
Right.
And so are you able to see it if I just open it up on the screen?
Yeah. Is that you? Are
You
you
see
sharing?
a guy with a bass guitar?
Nope. I think it's Andy. He's trying to
Oh, okay.
share.
I'll close this
Andy's
out.
sharing. Yeah. Hang on one second. Let's see if Andy can bring his up here. Yep, he's going to his desktop. We're trying to.
I'm trying to share, but Zoom seems to be very picky about what you can share. There you go.
Oh, there you are. Oh, that's cool. Oh, hey, is that the Palazzo Vecchio?
In Ferrara, Italy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
Oh, cool. I haven't, but is that Palazzo Vecchio in the background?
I believe so, yeah.
Oh,
That's
cool.
the castle in Ferrari behind there.
Oh, cool. Yeah. It's been a long time since I've been there.
Look at my, and we got the other one down there in the inside. What I'm looking for is the castle. Hang on a second.
No problem.
Why isn't it going to what I want to go to?
Yeah. There you
I
go.
have not used the stuff down here. So actually, this is here in Kingston. This is the city hall.
Oh, that's cool. That's some nice. I like that. I like it with the tree coming across there too. That works out really nice
Mhm.
with the
Yeah.
space. That's really cool.
There. That's the other one.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
So I'll post some more pictures for the next meeting, so you can take a look at it. But
No,
if
not a
this
problem.
is like I know you have this is just let's go.
Oh, cool. That's beautiful.
But I'm still locked down here, so I can't just hop across the border at the moment.
Yeah, I understand. It's not a problem. What I might do, well, we'll see. Like I said, we'll see how things work out with things coming up down the road. All right, hey, Greg, whenever you're ready, you're more than welcome to step in.
Okay, it's up.
All right, let me see what's going on. I don't see it yet. You click
Well,
on share
I
screen?
just put it up on my,
Did you
on
click
my
share?
screen.
Yeah, you gotta hit share screen.
Oh, where do I do that? Hang
Yeah,
on.
Larry curves. Let's get Larry in here.
See.
See, on the bottom of Zoom, there's this thing right there where it says share screen. If you click that, that's how you can share the screen there.
Yeah, but then you have to go through a whole bunch of steps to be able to enable share.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if
So
you
I just
want
have
to,
to go
you can
through.
always, if you got time, you can also throw it through a meetup and go to that page. You can throw it up on there, and I'll try to bring it back up. Hey, Larry, how you doing? Nope, you have no audio. Well, Larry, happy belated birthday. I hope you had a good birthday.
I'm not seeing share screen.
All right, let me show you what I'm talking about. Give me 1 second. I don't know if Zoom shares. I don't know if you can share with Zoom. I'm gonna try to share my desktop. So hopefully you can see my desktop here. And where's Zoom at? Let's see. Zoom. Nope, you can't share Zoom desktop. Okay, never mind.
Okay.
But there's a little green thing on the not green thing, but where on the bottom it's at mute, stop video. At least for me on my screen, when you're a host,
Yes.
you can see like participants chat, and there's a green thing that's at least for me, it's green right now. It says share screen.
Yeah, maybe that's only for the person leading the Zoom call.
No,
Yeah,
it's
I
for me
don't see
too.
it.
anybody who's a host can share the stuff.
Yeah.
So if it's not showing up,
If you might have to hover over it with your mouse for it to light up. So drop your mouse to the bottom of the panel.
Yeah, I'm in the panel.
Hit your Zoom icon on the bottom, the blue Zoom icon.
Oh,
It's a little projector.
yeah, I'm seeing it.
Okay, and then in the Zoom window, it should say share. Toward, at least on my current setup, it's on the
Yeah.
bottom.
It's next to
Sorry.
participants, chat, share screen, record, and leave.
Well, not seeing it.
Are you on the
Scout's
Mac
honor.
or a PC?
Chat.
Let's see if I can do this. Let's see. Are you live yet, Larry?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hey, did you
There.
bring anything to share today?
No, I just went out to dinner, so just got back, and we're volunteers at Lake Anna State Park, and I'm sitting here. Just I saw this on the when I put out my phone, and I said, "Oh, I'll join and see what's up." So,
Oh, cool. Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
yep. So I'll get my ugly face off of here when I figure that out.
Well, happy belated birthday, man.
Oh, thank you.
All right. Did you want to share anything tonight, Lisa? Are you're all set, or you just been watching me kind of flounder around on the internet? Has that been all right?
Oh, hi, yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. No, I've been enjoying the presentation. I don't have anything to share myself right
Okay,
now. But
that's fine.
I did have one question, Dono. When
Yeah.
you took the panorama shots, did you take them in any particular order?
Yeah, what I usually do is I usually try to shoot them. In that particular case, I was shooting them all vertical. So I shot one like this way, one this, up there, and then I moved over about 40-ish% and did the other one on that side. So I shot about 5 or 6, there's 6 altogether. So it's like 2 on, you can think about it as like 2 on the left, 2 in the middle, and 2 on the right. And I should have probably gone a little bit more of a wider shot, but it worked out for me. I've done and that I haven't quite figured out how to shoot Miaka Preserve as far as getting at least to something more of an interesting shot. I mean, it's not that the shot was horrible or bad. It's just that I'm trying to find something that be a little bit more unique. And I think in the back of my mind, my composition is that I think what I need to do is I need to bring out some sort of willing victim, sit them underneath the thing, light them up, and then also do a composition with the sky as well too. So, and I think I know what I want to do now. So we'll see how that goes. But like I said, that's more planning out, thinking about what I want to do. But
Yeah.
I've been out there a couple of times, and it's not that hard to get to. It's really easy, So I like it because the fact that it's got parking, and it's easy enough to bring a group out there without having to worry about trucks running by. The only thing you got to worry about is wild animals running in your path,
Cows.
or bulls running down the road, or cows running down the road.
Lisa, what I discovered using, we have what's called Graffiti Alley in Toronto. It's like a whole wall full of graffiti.
Yeah.
And that's where I practiced on.
Okay,
and
cool.
what I did, I took a camera, turned the portrait mode, did a slightly wider lens than I needed, and went from left to right, step by step by step. I took all
Right.
the pictures, and that's how I learned to stitch them all together in Lightroom. And I ended up the end became really good. That's
Yeah.
how basically has become my technique.
Yeah, good suggestion.
There's a lot of interesting programs out there. There's one program, and I forget the name escapes me. I'd have to look it up again, but it's where you can actually do more of a mathematical progression of everything that you're shooting, and it lays it all out, and then you put it all together. But you have to be a little bit more precise with it, and when you map out everything as far as that goes. I posted not too long ago a picture of this one guy who did this incredibly amazing stitched picture of the photograph of the Milky Way galaxy, but he took it over 12. If you add up all the exposure time, 12 years worth of shooting, he said, of different times when he shot the Milky Way. And they're all, of course, racked and stacked and everything else. So, but it was an amazing panoramic. And I'm like, well, that's got to be really interesting. I would love to see something like that big, going across the wall as far as that goes. Now, the biggest print I've ever did was probably about 36 inches long of the panoramic I shot down at the Everglades near Chokoloskee. So I was very happy with that one. Cool. All right. Well, cool. Well, thank you very much for everyone who's been coming out tonight. I appreciate that. I hope you guys enjoyed some of the stuff and enjoyed a little bit of the presentation there. Like I said, the next meeting, I'm hoping that's going to be in store. If it's not, then of course it'll be on Zoom. I think I can speak for everybody. I think I'm getting zoomed out. I've kind of missed being, when we all kind of get together. That's why I like doing some of these outdoor things, like even though Tiny Hatchie didn't kind of work out, I was really cool to hang out with everybody. Same thing with the steel wool, and I'm hoping with downtown will come up. And it looks like we're getting quite a response so far in the meetup for the Coquina Beach now. So that looks cool. So I'm looking forward to that. So I'm hoping we'll be doing some more things coming up. Now, if anybody has any suggestions at any time about any time, or if you would like to host a meeting at one point, I'll be more than glad to let you take the reins. And if you want to talk about something the group you think would enjoy, that's not a problem. I'm thinking about bringing Kevin Hanley back if I can convince him to do it on Zoom. But I'd rather have him in the store because he's a little bit more gregarious, a lot more fun to watch to do the presentation. He's been doing some really fantastic deep sky stuff. I'm following him on the Deep Sky Observers Group Facebook page, and he's been doing some really good stuff. And he did a presentation here at the store not too long ago. So I'm hoping that will happen. I'm trying to go out to with I don't know if anyone's met him, as Tom Connor, out to Mayaca around the first weekend of June, basically a week after Memorial Weekend. And hopefully if the weather holds out, we'll go out there and try to shoot the Milky Way as well too. June 1st, 2nd, or not 2nd, whatever that day is on the weekend there. That you're supposed to have it's going to be a relatively good time for the moon. So, more of a new moon at that point. Let's see, it's going to be, around new moon time, around the 9th, 10th, stuff like that. So we're going to hopefully get out there and get some shots as well too.
We had the super moon here yesterday, but it was totally cloudy.
Yeah, I saw a bunch of people posting that stuff online. Some of that's some really nice stuff. There's that I haven't seen him in a while, but I've been seeing him on the line. Don Blunt, I think his name is. He posted a really nice supermoon picture. I forget where it was, but it was really kind of cool. Oh, Lisa's gone to the dark.
Dono, I got something I think I could share just for fun here. It's
Sure.
I did a while ago, so allow me to share it, and I'll share my screen here. This is on my cell phone too, so.
All right, let's see how well that works. I mean, like I said, I've been running
Seems to work so far. Let me go over. Oh, I did the wrong place here. I don't want that. Let me go back.
Take your time.
Yeah, just a minute. I gotta get back. I don't want to do that. Come on, not there. I messed it up. I want to share that is what I want to share. You see that at all?
Nope.
Nope. Okay. Let me see if I can get back to share where the share stuff is here.
I know, because whenever I've done the Zoom on the phone, it's really hard for me to get to find the.
Yeah, I had it and then I just hit the wrong thing that I wanted to show. Oh, there's Zoom. I got to find the Zoom thing again. There we go.
Yep.
All right.
Well, I can see you again.
Yeah, that's not necessarily good.
Well, the lens didn't break.
All right. All right. Well, I think that's about all that we're going to do for tonight. Unless somebody's got any other things that we should talk about for the low light group. As I said, this was a small group. I was hoping expecting a few more tonight, but that's fine and dandy. I'm recording this, so this will be posted, warts and all, on the on the on the Facebook page, so you guys will be able to review that. I'll try to cut out some of the pausey bits, but we'll see how that goes. But other than that, I can't really thank you guys enough for all the time and all the effort you guys have brought to the group, and as well as taking the time to show and showcase some of your stuff. One of the things I've always found that's really great with doing stuff like this, being able to see other people's work, seeing other people experiment and try different things, because I always learn things as well. Like tonight, of all the years I've been doing this, what Greg was mentioning about cutting it in half and increase the time, and I never would have, I never heard of that particular part. I've heard of all sorts of things, like if you're going to be shooting long lenses, make sure your shutter speed isn't, 1 over the focal length. So if you got a 300 millimeter lens, your shutter speed shouldn't be less than 1/300th of a second. And that's always
Unless
been
you're using Olympus, then it's double that.
right, exactly. So the idea is you're going to make sure it's fast enough so that you don't get any motion blur with that field of view there. So again, these are just little techniques, little tips, and it's always good to hear that, because sometimes somebody who's new and trying the stuff out, they've never heard of that, and it's always good to kind of pass it on. So I always enjoy that. Well, anything else, guys?
I'm just digging up one of my old panoramic pictures. I will post it for next week's meeting on the meetup, so it shows how I learned to do stitching.
Yeah, not a problem. I will. Yeah, when I post up the next the meeting up on meetup, I think it's going to be towards the end of June. I think is what it's going to be, but don't hold me to that yet. I got to double check my calendar for that. But you can always post the pictures there. If we do end up doing it in the store, we'll see what we can do about bringing people in virtually as far as that goes. That'll be something new. If that works. This is all new to me, When COVID hit, we were down and out for a while, and I've been Zooming, and I was Zooming almost every other day. And now it's like, I'm Zooming like 2 or 3 times a month. But anyway, I'm digressing. I'm going to let you guys go, and I appreciate you guys taking the time. And thank you again so much. I really appreciate it. Thanks, Lisa. Thanks, Andy. Thanks, Greg.
Thanks, Dono.
I appreciate everything, guys. And I hope you guys have a great night and enjoy yourselves.
Good night.
Thanks, Donovan.
Talk to you later.
Good night.
Bye.
Thank you.
Good night.